on the screen. So right away, we're bringing awareness down to our navel. And this is the home where our second chakra lies. So last week, we talked about the first chakra developing a stable foundation. And as we move our way up to our pleasure center, the dwelling place of ourselves, we begin to cultivate pleasure in our practice. The sensual feeling of the breath, the gentle flow of energy, as we begin to awaken to what's right in front of us. We'll be here for about 10 cycles. Take a full breath in, an extended breath out. Bringing your hands to your heart space, setting an intention to bring more pleasure into your life. In the ordinary moments. And deep breath in. And a full breath out. Open up through the eyes, make your way into a tabletop position. You'll bring the knees about 2 or 3 inches behind the hips and begin to lower the hips down to the mat. From side to side. Starting to put some pressure into the palms of the hands, letting the arm bones come up by the ears, letting this motion translate the length of your spine down the arms into the outer hips. Finding pleasure in the ordinary. Two to 3 more cycles of breath. You'll arrive in a neutral tabletop. Walk the knees underneath the hips. Extend the right arm forward, reach it forward. Circle around and bring it to the right hip. Ground in through the inner thighs. Reach the right arm up. Circle it around. Let that translate into the opening of the right rib cage, into the waistband. On this next round, you'll open up to a modified side plank. Your left hand and left knee will be your foundation. Extend the right leg to the back corner of the mat and reach your right fingertips forward to the mirrors. Take a full breath into the length of the side body. You're extending your reach from the fingers to the toes and feeling the breath in between. Bringing the right arm down, stepping the right foot up for a lounge lizard prep. The toes will be facing the side of the room. You'll step your leg forward in your lounge lizard. So lounge lizard, the leg steps up. The knee is in line with the ankles. The toes are pointing towards me. You want to be able to place your load of the body into that front leg. Now closing down the eyes, feel the grounding of your left shoulder. The stability of the arm as you shift the weight from outer right hip, to the left arm. Take a full breath in and out. You'll straighten through the left leg. Turn yourself around. The left hand will grab for the outer right thigh. You'll hug the knee into the chest and sit tall through your seat. The base of the right rib cage will draw back and down as the left rib moves forward to the windows. Take a full breath in and out. The right hand grabs underneath the right knee. The right leg extends up. Bend and straighten at the knee joint. Pay attention to the chest. Keep it upright and lifted. Try not to roll back onto your seat. Instead, pull the belly towards the spine. Hold the right leg where it is. Bring the left leg to meet it in a variation of boat. Left leg comes up to meet the right. Just hold for a moment. The right ankle will cross on top of the left. You'll come to a crisscross applesauce. Walk the hands forward, heavy through the hips. Unhinging the jaw and bringing the lower jaw from side to side. Full breath in and out. Walking the hands back. Bringing the shoulders on top of the hips, the right knee will fall over onto the left knee. You'll walk your hands away from the knees, come into a twisted cobra to the front of the room. The fingertips are pointing to the mirrors. The chest begins to square forward and then lift up. Bring the awareness to the heaviness of the legs. Draw the belly in right below the navel, in between the tailbone and the navel. It's a strong exhale, brings you to a hovering bear. The knees come underneath the hips. You use the core to find that rotation of the lower back. Shins hover right above the earth, knees fall underneath the hips, taking a full breath in and out. Lovely, Heidi. Lower the knees down to the earth, extend the left arm forward, reach it around, bring it to the left hip. 2 more times with your breath, finding the simple pleasure of moving your energy through space. Next round, open up to a modified side plank. Right hand's your foundation, right knee's your foundation. The left leg moves to the back corner of the mat as the fingertips reach forward. Extend the space between the fingertips and the toes and fill that space with your breath. Nice, Michelle. Lounge lizard. The left leg will step forward. Point the toes towards me. Stabilize through your grounded arm and then practice shifting the weight forward and back. It's almost like a diagonal line between the outer hip and the stability of the opposite shoulder. Stay here for a cycle of breath. Then slowly lower the hips down. The right hand will come to the outside of the left thigh, drawing the knee into the chest, sitting high up on your seat. The gaze will follow the left shoulder. Nice, Erin. Unwind the spine, bring the left hand underneath the left thigh and begin to straighten and bend through the left leg. Good. So as you straighten and bend, most of the times the thigh bone pulls away. Try to keep the thigh close to the chest and find a deeper lengthening through the sit bone, reaching it towards the heel. Hold the left leg where it is. The right leg will come to meet it. Left ankle crosses on top of the right. Hug the heels in close for crisscross applesauce. Then walk the hands forward. Lay the belly in between the thighs. Get heavy through your seat and feed that breath into the low back and into the outer hips. Very nice, Kathy. Walk the hands back up. Bring the left knee to rest on top of the right. Walk away from the knees, twisted cobra to the front of the room. Arms are at least shoulder width distance to give you enough space to pull that heart through. You're still rotated at the lower back. On a strong exhale, the knees will come underneath the hips for a hovering bear. Your hold, drawing belly to navel. Walking the hands away from the feet and the feet away from the hands, plank pose. Right arm reaches forward, circle around, open up to a side plank. Rainbow, hips lower down, hips lift up. Now integrate the breath, lower the hips and lift the hips. Next round, lower the hips, lift the hips to lounge lizard. That right leg will step forward. Keep the toes pointing forward and make sure the heel is at least the width of your mat, if not further. Now press down through that left arm, lift up through the left rib cage, step up to a frog. Nice, Heidi. Sitting low in your frog. So that back leg will step up to come into a frog. You'll be facing me. Spiral the inner heels forward and drop the weight into the edges of your feet. Bring your hands to the heart. And how can you invite more pleasure into this ordinary moment? Maybe think about the vegetable you want to be. Deep breath in and a full breath out. Fingertips come to the earth, legs straighten. Toe heel, the left foot out for a wide-legged forward fold. Bring the hands onto the hips for a halfway lift. Shoulders and hips in line, back of the head lifts up slightly. Take a full breath in and out. Run the hands down the outer legs, holding on to the outer calves or the ankles. Pull the chest through. Rock the weight into the balls of the feet, keeping the toes nice and light. Coming back to that breath. Inhale and exhale. Breath in and breath out. Toe heel the right foot back in line, come into frog, so nice wide stance to frog. The left hand will plant behind the left foot, lounge lizard. The left leg will thread back through, lounge lizard. Slowly lower the hips down, bring the sit bones to ground, the right leg lifts up, the left leg comes to meet it. Hold here for a moment. Grab a hold of the back of the right leg. Keep the right thigh where it is and begin to lower and lift the left with the breath. So notice if that leg's just collapsing down or if you can integrate the core in the lifting of the inner thigh. Beautiful, Martina. Holding the leg up, both legs long and strong. Right ankle crosses on top of the left. Pull the heels in, rock and roll yourself up to a forward fold IT band. Stretch, there we go. So now we're into our IT band, into the outer hips. Gaze in between the shin, let the head go. And fill your moments with pleasure. That deep connection to your body, to your being, and to your breath. Standing splits, left leg high. Low lunge. Ground through the feet, point the toes forward, rise up to crescent. Open arm twist to the right. Scoop the energy of the tailbone, that foundation, right underneath you. Peaceful warrior, right hand to left thigh. Left fingers move to the diagonal towards your right shoulder. Low lunge is your release. Standing splits, left leg high. Shiva squat. Standing splits. Forward fold. Rise up to mountain. Interlace the hands at the low back for chest expansion, standing back bend. Drop the weight into the heels, press the belly and the pelvis forward as you reach your straight arms down. Forward fold. Right leg high, standing splits. Step it back to a low lunge. Ground through your feet. Take a moment before coming up to your crescent. Now scooping the tailbone underneath, open arm twist to the left. Peaceful warrior, left hand to right thigh, right fingers to the diagonal. Feel into that foundation and let that create the pleasure in your hold. Low lunge, standing splits, right leg high. Shiva squat, standing splits, forward fold. Rise up, reverse swan dive, mountain pose. Take the hands to the low back, chest expansion, heart opens, back bend. Forward fold, tone through the legs. Release the hands, plant the hands, hop, or step the feet back to high plank. The right arm reaches forward. Circle it around, open up to a side plank. Rainbow, lower the hips, lift the hips. Lower the hips, lift the hips, step up to lounge lizard. Frog, the left leg pulls through to frog, nice and wide. Hands come to heart. Fingertips come to the earth, forward fold. Toe heel the right foot out for a wide-legged forward fold. Take the hands to your heart space, lift the trunk of the body to a halfway lift. Skandasana, side to side. Taking that load from the outer edge of the foot to outer edge of the foot. Now try not to collapse through the head and through the neck. Find an integrated core as you elongate through your spine. Nice test. Come to a place of balance. Tone through the legs by lifting the inner arches slightly and hugging the inner thighs toward the midline. Hands come to the outer thighs. Bring the hands down the length of the legs. Hold on to your ankles. Forward fold. Release the hands. Toe heel the right foot to frog. Sit the hips low. Take the left hand to the outside of the left foot. Lounge lizard. Left leg threads back through. Hips lower down to the mat. Boat front of your space. Hands come underneath the knees open up to shoulder width. Lower the heels and then lift the heels. Lower and lift. Now we're contrasting the engagement of the quads and the elongation of the hamstrings. See if you can't find equal effort between the two as you bend and straighten the legs, moving from your center. Hold here. Right ankle crosses over the left, the heels pull in, rock yourself back. Use that momentum to roll yourself forward, forward fold. Left leg extends up, standing splits. Step it back to low lunge. Rise up to crescent. Open up to a warrior two. Pleasure in the ordinary moments, in a posture you've been to numerous times. How can you extract that pleasure? Extended side angle. Aim high arms. The right elbow will come off of the thigh. The left fingertips move skyward. The hands can come to the heart. Right hand to the heart. Soften through the gaze. Very good. Full breath in and out. Reverse warrior. Low lunge. Standing splits, left leg high. Shiva squat. Standing splits. Forward fold. Right leg high, standing splits. Lower the right rib to meet the left. Right hip lowers down. Step it back to lunge. Rise up through crescent. Open up to warrior two. Connecting to that pleasure before we move into an extended hold. Carry it with you, extended side angle. Right hand off of the right thigh. Left fingers extend up. Fullness with the breath. Meet that uncomfortableness with pleasure. Reverse warrior. Very nice, everybody. Nice, Debbie. Low lunge. Standing splits, right leg high. Shiva squat. Standing splits. Forward fold. Rise up to mountain pose. Take the hands to the low back, fingertips pointing down to the heels. Draw the arm bones, spiral them away from one another. Standing back bend, the hands press into the hips. Shoulder blades hug to the spine. Forward fold. Hands plant, feet hop or step back to high plank. Left arm extends forward. Open up to side plank. Rainbow. Rainbow. Lounge lizard. Get those hips up to get clearance for that right foot. To move into lounge lizard. Left leg steps forward, right foot follows for frog. You're coming low into your frog. This time lift the right heel and lower it down. Then the left. As you lift and lower through the heels, try to avoid collapsing the knees forward. Keep working through the outer hips. Hold the heels high. Drive the knees wide. Cycle a breath. Nice, Michelle. Lower the heels, straighten through the legs, forward fold. Left heel, toes, heels its way to a wide-legged forward fold. Hands come onto the hips for a halfway lift. Reach the arms forward, biceps by the ears. And think about the extension of the spine coming out from the tailbone, a long line of energy. Supported by your foundation and your pleasure center. Bring the hands to the hips, slide them down the outside of the legs, holding on to the ankles, or slide them underneath the heel. Stepping on the fingertips with your heel, rocking the weight forward. And taking a few breaths as you spread the rib cage nice and wide. Nice breathe. Release the hands, toe heel the left foot to frog. Lounge lizard, the right hand will plant behind the right foot, the right leg will thread back to a lounge lizard. Lower the hips, boat to the back of the room. It's a controlled lowering of the hips. Both legs extend up, holding here. Hands underneath the knees, straighten through the legs. We're moving into an open leg rocker. You're going to rock yourself back and catch yourself on your seat. Roll back, catch yourself on your seat. Yep, 2 or 3 rocks. So you're catching that momentum, rolling back, catching that momentum. Now when you're ready, you're going to roll back. Instead of catching that momentum, you're going to flow through it, bringing you to a forward fold. The left ankle this time will cross on top. Breathe into the outer hips, feel into the edges of the feet, and rest the torso closer to the thighs. Right leg lifts up, standing splits. Low lunge. Rise up to crescent. Open up, warrior 2. Triangle pose. Left leg straightens. Right leg straightens. Right inner arch pulls up. Left big toe mound grounds in. Extract the pleasure. Stimulate that second chakra. Reverse triangle, slight bend through the left knee as you come to reverse triangle, then re-straighten through that left leg. Take the hips slightly forward, pull the waistband out of your pelvis, take a deep breath in and out. Low lunge. Standing splits, right leg high. Shiva squat. Standing splits. Forward fold. Left leg high. Ground down through the right heel, low lunge. From your center, rise up crescent. Open up to warrior 2. Triangle pose, straighten through the right leg. Glide the hips back. The arch of the left foot lifts as the big toe mound on the right foot grounds. Now fill your shape with the breath. Slight bend into the right leg, reverse triangle. Then re-straighten through the right leg, gliding the hips forward. Low lunge. Left leg high, standing splits. Shiva squat. Standing splits. Forward fold. Rise up to mountain. Take the feet hip width apart. Interlace the hands at the low back, chest expansion, and hold here. Bending through the knees, coming into chair with the chest expansion. Now the chin likes to jut out. Bring the chin down so it's parallel to the chest. Lift the knuckles away from your booty and focus in on your breath, your sensation. Tune in. Where can you find pleasure? Forward fold with the chest expansion. Release the hands, plant the hands, hop or step the feet back to a high plank. The left arm extends forward. Circle around, open up to a side plank. Rainbow, lower the hips. lift the hips to lounge lizard. Top leg steps up to lounge lizard. Frog, right leg on threads, come into that frog. Nice, Barbara. Both heels lift, both heels lower. With your breath. So I know this can be uncomfortable. Really strong sensations and emotions can get pulled up in our deep squat. So we look for the pleasure. We keep that second chakra stimulated. That ball of orange energy spiraling right at our navel. Then lift the heels. Relax through the face. Take a full breath in and out. Lower the heels down. Straighten through the legs. Toe heel the left foot out nice and wide. Halfway lift the spine, hands come to heart center. Skandasana from side to side. This time maybe play with unearthing the straightened leg, bringing the toes up to the ceiling. Make sure you have a wide enough stance to really pull that outer hip nice and wide to the outer edge of the foot, and then transfer that weight over. Come to a place of balance. Hands on heart, feel the beating of your heart. This ordinary moment of life. Can you seek and extract the pleasure from it? Release the hands, bring them to the outer thighs, holding on to the ankles or the heels. Pull the chest through. A chance to recover. Full breath in and out. Left foot will toe heel its way back to frog. The right hand plants to the outside of the right foot for lounge lizard. Lower the hips down. Ground through the seat, boat to the front of the room. Both legs lift up. Open leg rocker, roll your self forward and back 2 or 3 times. The left ankle will come on top to a forward fold. So with each one of these movements, it should get a little smoother, a bit more fluid. Soften the torso towards the thighs. Take a full breath in and out. Right leg high, standing splits. Step it back to lunge. Lower down to crescent moon. Holding your crescent moon, find one point to focus on at the front of your space. Single leg Tadasana, the right leg will pull forward and up. Right hip circles up and around. Take your right hand to your right glute, and as the leg circles up and around, just feel that the outer thigh and the right glute are activating. And then begin to circle the opposite direction. Then bring the right knee up to hip height. Squeezing the glute, give it a nice squeeze, then bring that leg behind you. Arms can express themselves the way that you wish, but you're integrated and lifted through the lower body. Nice. You've got it. Right leg meets the left. Mountain pose. Hands come to heart. Setting the intention to find the pleasure. Forward fold. Left leg steps back to a low lunge. Lower down to crescent moon. Settle the gaze, single leg Tadasana. The left knee will step up. 3 large circles in each direction. If it helped you to bring that hand to the outside of the thigh, find the left hand to the outer glute, outer thigh. It's a slow, controlled stirring of the thigh bone in the hip socket. Then the left knee will lift up to hip height. The inner thigh faces down to the earth. Flex through the left foot, shift it back slightly, and then extend your arms for your balance. Very nice. Left leg meets the right, grounding through the feet, mountain pose, pulling up through the quads, forward fold. Hands plant, feet hop or step back to high plank. Right arm reaches forward, circle around, side plank. Rainbow, lower and lift. Lounge lizard. Frog. Right hand comes to the outside of the right thigh. Stabilize through the right arm and feel the outer right thigh touching the arm. Now send the left fingers up to the ceiling and gaze at your left fingers. Keep that work through the outer right thigh. Feed the breath into that left side body and rotate that left rib up slightly. Nice, Kathy. Full breath in and out. Switching out the arms, the left hand behind the left foot. Bring the outer thigh and the forearm to touch. Keep that connection. Right arm reaches up, gaze follows. Revolving open through the right rib, feeding that breath into the right waistband for a full cycle. The right arm will lower, the left arm is already in its place for lounge lizard. Press down through the left palm, lounge lizard, unthread that left leg back. Yep, nice, Debbie. Lower the hips down, boat pose to the back of your space. Both legs lift. Externally rotate the thigh bones so the knees are faced away from one another and the heels come together. You're going to pulse the heels together, and this is an engagement of the inner thigh. So small, tiny pulses. The clapping comes from the inner thighs. The knees can be bent or the legs begin to straighten slightly. Right ankle on top of the left. Rock and roll yourself forward. Use that momentum to come to forward fold. Left leg high, standing splits. Step it back to low lunge. Rise up through crescent. Open up to warrior two. Hands come to heart, skandasana into the back leg and hold. Right toes point up to the ceiling, work through the outer left hip. So outer left hip and inner right thigh are effectively holding the pelvis neutral. Warrior two. Flowing with your breath, skandasana. Warrior two. Skandasana. Hold for a cycle. Warrior two. Reverse warrior. Low lunge. Standing splits, left leg high. Shiva squat. Standing splits. Forward fold. Right leg high. Low lunge. Rise with breath. Crescent. Warrior two. Hands to heart, skandasana. Left toes lift. So just as much effort from the outer right thigh as the pulling in of the left inner thigh. Warrior 2. Skandasana. With your breath. And then we'll hold Skandasana. Where it's uncomfortable, we find the pleasure. Warrior 2. Nice Martina. Low lunge. Standing splits. Shiva squat. Standing splits. Forward fold. Rise up to mountain. Take the feet shoulder width apart. Draw the knees in for constructive rest through the lower body. Hands come through heart center. You want to press the inner thighs together. So we activated the inner thighs with those heel claps. We're going to reactivate the inner thighs as we draw the knees in. Now scoop the tailbone underneath you. Steady your gaze and lift the heels. As you lift the heels, think about the belly lifting up towards the crown of the head. Knees stay in, inner thighs rotate internally. Lower the heels down, undo the knees, stand up, mountain pose. Fold forward. Plant the hands, hop the feet back, high plank. Right arm reaches forward, circle around, side plank. Rainbow to lounge lizard. Frog. Right hand comes to the inside this time of the right leg. The left hand reaches up, comes to the low back. Maybe for the right hand, in a bind. Gaze follows the left shoulder. Now most of the weight has dumped over to the right side, so intentionally bring some more weight into the left foot.
How does the back go?
The back right here. And then here. So you're outside. So take this arm to the outside. Okay. And release, coming to the other side. The left hand to the inside of the left forearm, the right arm up to the sky, right hand to the low back, the fingertips come to touch, or peace fingers bind. And then sending some weight into that right leg. The gaze will follow the right shoulder as it hugs down and back. And releasing the bind, bringing the left hand behind the left foot, lounge lizard. Lower the hips down, boat to the front of the room. Rock and roll yourself forward and back. Right ankle crosses on top for a forward fold. So eventually that rock and roll forward becomes this nice, pleasurable massage for the spine. You're freeing up all this space in the upper back, mid back, and low back. Standing splits, left leg high. Low lunge. Rise up to crescent. Crescent moon, left knee lowers down to the earth. Hold crescent moon, find one point to gaze at. Stepping forward, single leg Tadasana. Left leg extends out, inner thigh faces the mat, firm up through the left foot, and then begin to kick that leg all the way back, reaching the arms forward. Very nice. Can you lift that left knee in line with the hips squeezing through the glute? Left leg meets the right, mountain pose. Forward fold. Right leg high, standing splits. Low lunge. Up to crescent. Lower down to crescent moon. One point to gaze on. Step forward, single leg Tadasana. Keeping the knee up to hip height, bringing it out wide to the side. The inner thigh faces the earth. And then begin to kick that foot behind you and reach the arms in front of you. And fill the space in between with your breath. Lovely, Heidi. Right leg meets the left, mountain pose. Bringing the hands to heart space, reground with your intent, with your breath, and from the pleasure of the two. Forward fold. Plant the hands, step the feet back, high plank. Left arm extends forward, circle around, open up to side plank. Rainbow, lower and lift. Lounge lizard. Frog. Hold your frog, the right hand to the inside of the right shin, left hand comes to meet. So most of the times we want to go to the inside. That's an okay bind too. We're just challenging the binds, working a little differently. Making our way into birds of paradise. That left foot will toe heel its way underneath the hip. Then you'll just start to transfer the weight onto the left foot, holding that bind through the right arm. Bringing all the weight onto that left leg as you come up to bound birds of paradise. The pleasure of the trying. 2 to 3 breaths. Nice, everybody. And we'll all meet back in frog. Lounge lizard. Right hand behind the right foot, lounge lizard. Lower the hips. Boat to the back of the room. Rock and roll yourself forward to a forward fold. Plant the hands, hop the feet back to a high plank. Left arm extends forward. Circle up and around. Lower the hips. Lift the hips, lounge lizard. Step the right foot up for frog. Left hand to the to the inside of the left leg for the bind. You're going to toe heel the right foot underneath your hips. Shift the weight into that right leg for bound birds of paradise. Good. Wherever you are, can you seek the pleasure in the moment? And then we'll meet back in frog. Right hand behind the right foot, lounge lizard. Lower the hips down to the earth. Boat pose to the front of the room. Hug the knees into the chest. Squeeze yourself into a little ball. Plant the feet. And then give yourself a hug. That sensuality of turning inwards, of connecting to yourself. And then very slowly you'll begin to make your way onto your back. Laying on your back, happy baby's pose. Grabbing for the inner or the outer edges of the feet. Bringing that attention down to the pelvis, and just notice how much more freedom you may feel in the hips, in the groins, in the low back. Stirring that center of pleasure. If there's any other posture you wish to take before making your way into your final Shavasana, please do so. Otherwise, final Shavasana is waiting. Gently inviting back in small little movements, starting with the breath. And coming to a fetal position on either side of your space. Committing to find the pleasure in your ordinary moments. And very slowly, with closed eyes or a softened gaze, make your way up to your seat. Find your grounding through your sit bones, through the flesh of the outer thighs. A nice tall spine grows out of the base, grows out of a sturdy foundation. So you become receptive to all the pleasure and all the joy that surrounds you. Taking the hands to the heart space, exhaling out the air. Deep breath in. Full breath out. 2 more silent rounds. With light love, gratitude, and grace, namaste.